Hi guys, my name's Jacob. We build houses and this is our property here in Nashville. We're gonna be laying out a house for a foundation. This is the process to laying out your house footprint. So the first thing you wanna do is find your two corners. I wanted the back of the property to be here. So this is the back of the house and then it's gonna be looking out that way. I found that corner down there and this one. I measured the length of the house. Then to find those corners, use this point and that point to find a triangle. You'll find that corner by using the hypotenuse. So you'll get that length. You'll need two tape measures just like this. This is a 300 foot. Get two of these. I knew that on the drawings, there was supposed to be a pier about 11 feet off that corner. So I did that on both sides and then ran a string line and then measured off that string line, the 8 feet distances for each pier that's going to be there. So I knew that I had 21 piers. These are gonna be supports for a big beam that goes through here and the house rests on. I knew that I had a lot of them to stake out. What I did was instead of finding all four corners of it, I found one point, got my string line, keeping it nice and straight. What I'd do is throw that down right to that corner and spray paint around it. So I'd have a stencil to go along each point. It's gonna save you a lot of time. Each one of these points you would have had to do 4 stakes the other way. The lines that you see that go all the way around, those are the exterior of the footer. So the crew that's gonna be coming in and digging, they're gonna go right along the inside of this and trench 2 feet in to make that footer. So like I said before, we're gonna find the hypotenuse of 30 by 70, and that's 76.16. This measurement's gonna be 30 feet, so 30 feet this way. Now we're gonna go from that corner because these are our 2 points here, and this is gonna be our hypotenuse measurement. So 76.16. So this is our original 0.1 and 0.2. We're trying to find 0.3. So this is our 76.16. There's our measurement there, and we line it up. It falls right on that corner. So now we have our third corner. Now to find the other one, the side that we just measured the 30 now becomes the long 76.16, and then that side will pull straight out for our 30 foot, and that's gonna give us our fourth point. And now we have a rectangle. We're at our fourth point. This is gonna complete our rectangle. This is 30 feet and our 76.16. They should line up right at the corner, which they do. So now we have a perfectly square rectangle, meaning these corners are at a 90. So then once you have that, then you can start pulling off your other points of the measurements of the house. So whether you need to find the interior piers or some of these other points, like these are our deck piers that come off after we get some of these other stakes put in along the front of the house, and then I can pull off those, finding the hypotenuse of that and getting nice and square piers for the deck. So step 2, the ground crew is gonna come out and they're gonna start digging the trench along the line that I just spray painted. So they're gonna dig on the inside of the spray paint because I put the exterior of the footer as being the line that goes across all around the perimeter.
So our crew is here to do our footer, and what they do first is they dig around the perimeter of the property, and then they put rebar in, and once they have the rebar in and that gets inspected, we then move on and pour the foundation on top of it. The water is really getting to us, the rain. It will not stop raining, and it's not good to be digging the foundation when it's raining. So we just got a pump and we're gonna pump it out so that they can finish the job today and hopefully start rebar tomorrow so that we can get the inspector out the next day. It's kind of like a mud pump that takes all the water out of this because it's raining so much, and when you do foundation, it's not good when it's raining. So we're gonna try to pump the water out.
So once they dig that out, then they're gonna start putting rebar into the ground. They're going to cut them to different lengths that are specific to code. They're going to put J-hook rebar going up so that the stem wall can actually tie into the footer, making it stronger. So for this size footer, it's required that you have 2 sticks of number 4 rebar to go continuously all the way through the entire footer. It'll also have every 4 to 6 feet rebar that sticks up through the footer vertically and ties into the actual stem wall that'll be put in. Next step after that, we'll have an inspection with the inspector. He'll come out and make sure that the rebar is all installed correctly. There's no mud on the rebar. It's very clean. Everything looks good, tied together well. And then he'll give us the okay to order the concrete, have the concrete trucks out, and actually pour the footer. We're getting pretty close to being finished. They have the perimeter dug out where the retaining wall is gonna go, and they put the rebar in. So we have our inspector coming tomorrow, and then Thursday at 4 a.m. Santa's coming to town. Nice. We have our concrete being poured Thursday at 4 a.m. So it's gonna be great. The rebar got failed because overnight some of the mud sloughed off into the trench. Must have rained a little bit, filled up that hole with water and a little bit of the perimeter, just a little bit, enough to fail, but not too much to where we're not gonna be able to get done tomorrow. So I'm gonna re-dig some of this out and then call for inspection, and then we'll have concrete poured hopefully tomorrow evening. So last night about 4 a.m. the guys came, they started pouring the footer. So that just got finished, looking really good. It's drying up right now. Next thing, start on the stem wall. This is gonna be what we put the framing on. So we'll start doing the floor joists and get the walls going. We're getting close. Then we're gonna have our block guys come out. They're gonna start doing CMU blocks. This is gonna basically be a bunch of CMU blocks stacked on top of each other until about a 3-foot high wall is created. And this is what our house is gonna sit on and what we start framing on top of. So this whole process takes about a week to do the footer, and then probably another week to do the actual stem wall. And then we can start framing, which is my favorite part.
Once the concrete footing has fully cured, it's time to start building the stem wall. Each concrete block is laid one at a time with mortar in between. So this basically acts like a strong glue holding the blocks together. The very first row is obviously the most important because if it's not level, every row above it will be off as well, and then your whole foundation will be off. So you need to make sure each time you're putting the CMU block on that you're leveling it, putting the leveler on, making sure it's level. From there, the blocks are stacked in a staggered pattern, just like brickwork, which makes the entire wall a lot stronger. As they go, they're constantly checking everything with string lines and levels to make sure the wall is perfectly straight, level, and plumb for every angle. Once the wall reaches its final height, the reinforced sections are filled with concrete, turning all of these individual blocks into one really strong foundation. Anchor bolts are then set on top of the wall while the concrete is still setting. After everything is cured, pressure treated lumber is bolted to the top of the stem wall, and that's what the entire wood frame foundation house will sit on.
This is a CMU block stem wall. It's going up 5 layers. We're gonna do a piece of layment on top of this, and then we're gonna do a mud sill, which is basically a treated piece of lumber that goes across the entire surface of the stem wall. Once we're done with that, it's gonna get bolted down, and then we're gonna start doing our floor joists, which we're doing an engineered floor system. So it's gonna go big long spans. There's gonna be a row of piers that go through here that it's gonna lay on. It's gonna be a nice beam that goes across here. Once that's done, we can start framing our walls, get our roof on, and then get somebody in for plumbing. So the way they do this, they have to put vents along foundation, have them open during maybe the summer, spring, close them during the winter. So it stays a little bit warmer inside. Over here, this is where the crawl space door goes. This thing, it's where you can access, put stuff inside, start doing the plumbing, get underneath the house if you need to, run some additional wiring later on. That's what's nice about a crawl space is you can work on the house later on. If you just did a slab, you're not gonna get access under the house. You're gonna have to run wires somewhere else or dig up the ground to fix your plumbing. That's what's really nice about a crawl space and why it's the extra money is to have access to under the house anytime. So when they're laying these CMU blocks, they're buttering each side of it and the bottom, and then they set it in place. They have a string line that goes across. That's gonna help them keep it level as they're going along and making it a lot faster. So they'll do a string from this corner to that corner and make sure each block in between is perfectly level with that string. It's really just mortar. They have a certain kind of mix that they do. I don't know the exact ratio, but they get their sand, which is literally just sand, and then they have their Portland cement, and they mix it in this machine. Somebody's wheelbarrowing it over to everybody else over here. They're putting it on these little trays and scooping it on, going along, setting a block, and leveling each block as they go, tapping it in place, getting it perfectly level. Because top of here, this is what really decides on how straight your house is gonna be. So if you look across, perfectly flat all the way around, and it looks really good. So they're constantly checking as well. So the tool they're using to level is a builder's level. It's a little sight level and helps get everything nice and even. Because during the day, it's hard to use a laser level because you can't see it, but I think that's what they're using is just a builder's level today. Next thing we'll be doing is we're gonna put our French drains along this. So it's a perforated pipe wrapped in some geotech fabric. So it lets water pass through it, and then it'll be surrounded with some rocks as well. So it'll go into the pipe, and then the pipe will take it away from the house, down the hill, and into a nice grassy area. That's gonna go along the entire perimeter of the stem wall. And then there's gonna be probably this much dirt and gravel against the side of the foundation. On the inside, we're gonna do either a 5 or a 10 millimeter thick layment that is going to help seal up the entire crawl space. So when you're crawling around under there, it's not like you're rolling around in dirt or mud. It's a nice plastic fabric that's thick and helps keep everything watertight, which is called a vapor barrier. Helps keep moisture out of your crawl space. It's gonna extend the life of all the wood underneath the house and just really lock everything in. You wanna put a dehumidifier in your crawl space, that really levels it up. And also, if you really wanna be fancy, put some lights under there. there. So if you have people working under there, it's just a lot more comfortable and makes it really nice. So that's about it for doing a stem wall. We're almost done. I think we're a few hours out from this being completely finished, and then we can start framing in about 24 hours to 48 hours once this is cured and rock solid. All right, the foundation is finished. They came this morning, wrapped up a couple hours, and the stem wall is completely done. We finished French drain. Now we just gotta put some washed rock up against it and inside so that any of the water that starts to build up against it gets pushed out and sent down the hill. Yeah, they did a really good job. It looks really straight. So now that this is all done, we're gonna move on to framing. We're gonna start doing the subfloor and then start framing the walls, put the roof on, and start doing interior walls, and it's gonna look really good. It's dumping rain, so catch you on the next one.